Oh, there you go. Undid it.
Okay.
All right, there you go.
Okay. How are you? Welcome.
Here we are for Dog to Dog Live. This is live streaming for our lunchtime Q&A. Welcome. We're so happy to have you here. Before we jump into our questions, we are, why don't you talk about our online group training?
So we have online group training that is friendly for you because you can buy access to the class, and then you can watch the videos at your own leisure, and it will be something that it just like is friendly to you, and you can do it whenever it works for your time schedule. So kind of pay attention on our Facebook and Instagram for that access if you're interested in training your dog in at home online.
And we're going to be given a bunch of that away for free.
Yep. So pay attention for that too. Like watch for those promotions that we're going to give away a private training here in our studio. That is if you're local. We're going to give away a group lesson here if you're local. And then we will be giving away a few of the online trainings.
Free stuff.
Yep.
Guys.
So pay attention for those posts because it'll tell you how you have to enter to be eligible for that.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm Scott. This is Darcy. Darcy and Scott. We're the master trainers at Dog to Dog Training. 36 years, 37 years of experience. I have. Darcy's looking at 15, 16 years. We have a whole bunch of training experience. So we love you. We love your dog. We mean that. We do this. We have questions that come in our private lessons, in our group lessons. I have people call from this particular, the first one I'm going to talk about actually came from a lady who I trained 3 dogs for, 3 Australian Shepherds. They all lived 10 years plus. They kind of overlapped a little bit, but you're talking probably 30 years ago, I first met her. And so many of our friends become, our students become dear friends of ours. So the first question was, she got this 3rd dog. And she, part of the deal is you can call us and say, something weird. And she said, Scott, I have never had a dog that licked like this. This is the lickiest dog I've ever seen. I mean, if he's by us, he's licking us. And it's just not our hands only. If he licks our pants, whatever. So that was the first question, how do I deal with this? Because even a couple of my kids who are kissy face on the dog, whatever, they're just like, oh man.
Enough.
Enough, okay? So we're going to address that. Now, there is a question that we received that is very, very close to this. It's a little more dramatic for people that dog owners tend to respond a little bit quicker with this or whatever, and that's nibbling. Okay, Darcy and I really, truly, probably 70% of the lessons are in. I guarantee you in the first lesson, they're finally going to say, he bites us. What do you mean? What are we talking about? Well, he's nang, 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 he's always does. And of course, if it's a puppy, they've got those little milk teeth in there. They're
sharp.
Like, scalpels, right? And he's being aggressive. Now you hear a broad spectrum there. He's being aggressive, whatever. That is not the case at all. The dog has one hand, so to speak, and that's their mouth. And if you watch dogs with each other, they put their mouths on each other all the time. So we need to discuss something. I mean, this is something where we're going to go in behaviorally and look at this first, which is what we do here. That's our power. It's our superpower, right? So the ability to look years and years and years and years of applied experience, as well as a foundation of truth as far as instincts, drives, and characteristics. So let's look, okay? The dog sees you basically as the sun coming up in the morning, every morning. I mean, it's all over everywhere, right? It's on social media, it's in books, and whatever. People talk about all of our favorite movies, Lady and the Tramp, The 101 Dalmatians. We all talk about this relationship with our dog and what dogs do for us. Well, let's turn that, okay? What do you do for them? What is it that brings your dog into your life, into what's going on, that you have this wonderful, perfect partnership, which is what we strive for here. Now, having said that, you are pack. You are very, very critically important to the dog. And we've talked on this before about what we at Dog to Dog here call the 3 heroines. Okay?
Eyes, touch, voice.
And voice, right? Your dog is addicted to those things and will seek them, you to look at them, to touch them, to speak to them, and they will seek to prolong that experience in many, many, many different ways. Pawing. Darcy loves that her dog reaches out. Yeah, whatever. And she likes it, right? It's a connection with the dog. Sometimes those behaviors are obnoxious, that they're impulsive, compulsive behavior in the dog.
And it's intense for the human because it's like,
Ah,
you don't know how to stop it.
but I don't want to be mean. I don't want the dog to think that I don't like them. So that's really not going to happen anyway. You know, the dog is hooked to, pack. Their dogs are very, very packed up on you. So part of the deal is they will begin pushing buttons. I want you guys to think about a 2-year-old on your cell phone. Okay, how is it that a 2-year-old on a cell phone can hack into NORAD? Okay, somebody just hacked into the FBI on my phone. It was my 2-year-old. How did that happen? I can't believe, because they're unafraid to start pushing buttons. Your dog is the same. They will push buttons, so to speak, and see what is the response.
And we say often that a dog is a trainer in its own right because they're pushing buttons towards you.
All the time. And whoa, good button. Well, you're up here in your human head saying, it's not a good button. I hate that. They're spit on me and they're constantly spitting on me. Lick, lick, lick. Ah! All right. The dog doesn't care about any of that. That's not. What the dog cares about is eyes, touch, voice. They don't do English. So lecturing them, whatever, you push them away, physical contact.
You've just touched them.
And so over and over and over. Well, then we start to get ticked, right? We might become anxious or frustrated, whatever. We change chemically. The dog starts to see that by body posture, voice tone, and smell, my human's freaking out. There seems to be some anxiety. And as we've said, your dog can often mirror, they become a little bit anxious. They lick more. It's all right. All right. Same with nibbling. Now, mouth contact is by nature more dominant, not aggressive. Okay, we're not talking, people say, well, my dog is aggressive. Really, what do you have? I have an 8-week-old puppy. It's not aggressive. The dog, that's not aggression, folks. There's the puppy is playing. Play has purpose. It is physical. It is a subconscious desire for physical contact, to seek and maintain it. That's why dogs play. It's awesome. You know, it's why we play probably, you know, blah, 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 blah. But sometimes they're playing right. I just had someone last night. It was last night. We have a guy has a German Shepherd dog. Okay. Comes in, their other dog, they've had some dominance issues, whatever, but they're playing. Well, what is play? Non-combat dominance. All right. Why would we fight? Let's not hurt anybody, but it's necessary to rank as dogs. We must do that. Dogs seek it. So he looks over and here's his other dog. Here's his German Shepherd, young dog, full mouth over the head. She is holding her on the ground with her mouth overhead. Trust me, you know, if either dog wanted to hurt the other at that position, it would happen, but it's not. It's wrong.
Well, and that happens a lot in my house with Gypsy and with Joe. I mean, he's 11 and they're close enough in rank that they get a little tiffy sometimes, but her being female, she is very clear who the queen is over the situation. And it cracks me up because she is on him with her mouth on his like muzzle and over his neck and grabs the back of his legs. And so her mouth, she uses to remind. And to seek that contact. It's very important for those two dogs to have that contact. See, they don't say, well, we hate each other. That they're pack, that there's no such thing. So she maintains contact. That's what your dog does to you. Now, if you ignore the dog, which there's some, I mean, I've heard, what, you know, just ignore your dog and it'll go away. My dog is tearing my clothing. You know, I can't, well, you're paying attention to, okay, guys, look. Whenever we talk about unwanted behavior, any unwanted behavior, number one, we have to decide whether it is wait outable. That's not even a word, right? But you're going to wait it out. Well, we can wait it out. Okay. So barking, whining at night, whatever. So I say, I don't know what to do. I have no idea. It's freaking me out, you know, whatever. Yes, but you need to make a decision. So you either have to ignore it because fundamentally licking, nibbling, or anything else, the dog is looking for contact. They're looking to seek and establish contact. We call it, they're seeking attention, whatever, okay? They want that contact, so you're going over to the crate or over to the bed, whatever, and they're crying at night, so, you need to be quiet, you know, whatever. Well, it's over. The dog has pushed the button, you've come over. And you, like, just by talking to them, or sometimes people open the crate and looking at them, right? You know, try to grab the dog or something. Every time you do that, you're actually giving them attention. Which is why no success. I keep doing it over. Dogs don't lie. They have no capacity to lie. So if what you're doing in response to unwanted behavior, to licking, whatever, is not stopping it, that the behavior is not going away, whatever you're doing isn't effective, period. And we always say that is wasting your time because you're wanting to get something to change and you're doing the same behavior over and over. Beware. Beware. Listen to Darcy there. Beware people who say just do more of it. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. And I mean, we don't mean to be offensive with that, whatever, but look, when you look behavior, you must meet the behavior that you don't want with a behavior so that the fundamental credo, obedience must be more pleasant than disobedience. And disobedience, unwanted behavior, must be more unpleasant than desirable behavior. That's kind of a duh statement, but our hearts get involved there. We say, oh, yeah, but I don't. Well, what do you think we're talking about here?
Strike the dog with a club or some weirdness like that? No, that's not the case. So going back, one of the decisions is if you can, you may choose to wait it out. But if you do, you have to wait it out. You can't say, oh, I hope that dog shuts up. Oh my goodness, I wish that dog would stop licking me. Oh, I wish that dog would stop nibbling on me, whatever. And then we're mad. Stop doing it. And the dog goes, whoa, what is wrong with you?
Mhm.
What do you mean what's wrong with me? I've been telling you, guys, that won't work.
Well, and a lot of times people will use their voice or that kind of a thing with their dog because they want something to stop. And see, then they'll be like, stop it, don't do that, all that kind of stuff. And you're dripping,
Heroin.
you know, the stimulus into the dog and it's going, oh yeah, talk to me some more. And then you freak out. The dog has no way to know that that thing he was doing 10 minutes prior, the first time he did it. I mean, we say this with kids too. It's like, get up, say it once, make it happen. So it's like, if my dog is doing any unwanted behavior, I quick move.
Yeah, to what? What are we gonna move to, right? Well, there's not a single answer. I mean, we have multiple answers that we can use here. But what we want to do is make sure that the dog knows quick, that you can't guys, you can't do this. Stop it, stop. How many times have I told you stop licking? I'm so fed up, whatever. Knock that off. The dog will have no idea. It can't be the licking because nothing happened like that until mom and dad are crazy. They're insane. You know, that they've just popped somehow. And you can tell because the dog will begin to avoid you. The dog will sit for you. You know, I'm not sure even what the heck you are. Some people say, well, at least he's not licking me. Yeah, but you may have some other behavior, whatever, because the dog can't figure out that it's not the licking. I just don't dare be close enough to you. I don't want to live that way with my dog. I want my dog to be welcome to come right up and be with me all the time, be able to trust me. That's the deal. Okay. So, a couple of things. One, we tell people a default is if you're using a kennel or a crate, that if you're going to crate your dog, whatever, don't worry about the crate being bad. Okay, well, so if I use the crate as, you're talking complex here. Well, we just take the dog into the crate instantly. Okay, I'm going to banish you for a time, but I'm not going to make a big thing. When I'm done after 10 minutes, we're big on 10-minute turnarounds. We let the dog back out. We don't say, oh, you know, or do anything weird where the dog's not sure what happened right there. If you do this behavior, licking, nibbling, barking, or whatever, then this is going to happen. You must seek a squirt bottle. Okay, let's use that as an example. People use squirt bottle. Okay, please, nothing but water. You hear it from here. Please do not add anything or use, I could go on, you won't believe what I've seen. Okay, just water on stream, right up the nose. All right, it's non-invasive, it won't hurt the dog. If your dog doesn't like it, it works great because it's easy to use. So you could use, I had a lady say, well, I use that for the barking. Can I use it for licking? Absolutely. Sure. It's right here. My squirt bottle is right here. Lick, lick. No voice. No, do not do that. Because if you have made the decision that that is not acceptable behavior, then you are going to discipline every single time. We call that aversion training. Okay, licking the pack leader is not acceptable. That will not happen. What if you're a person who doesn't mind licking sometimes? Okay, if it's invited, then you would use a verbal command. We use leave it. Okay, so if Darcy's dog approaches her, lick, 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 she's not in the mood. That's not, I mean, the pack leader establishes mood. Say, leave it.
Yeah, and usually it's like, leave it, and I'm like, go to your spot, lay down, stay.
And
like,
we use obedience, right?
Right.
See, that's what obedience training is you have a way to extend this, but we're not talking obedience training here. We're talking about response. So whatever the response is, now I'm very dog-like with my dogs. So I will tend to take a handful of cheek or ear, just kind of take the side of their head, and I don't say much. I just take it. People say, well, does that hurt? No, of course not. I'm not trying to hurt the dog. Well, then how come it works? Because it's not the contact that the dog desired. It is a restrictive holding, no eye contact, no nothing, and then off. Does that work on every single dog? No, because every dog is different, and depending on how stubborn or tough or crazy they are will depend on the level of response that you have to do. Whether you need to separate yourself from the dog compulsively, which is what crating would be or whatever, whether you're going to use the compulsive measure with obedience, because your dog has an obedience command, she can send Gypsy, no, you do that, you end up over on your bed and stay. Whatever. What is the key? Here it comes, lick, 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 whatever, boom. This is what happens. All right, every single time. It does not have to be physical contact if you don't want. Set the dog up. You say, well, can I use a leash and collar? Of course you can. Okay, so if the dog licks or nibbles or whatever, we've got the leash. We whip them over here like we showed you once before. To the side, we have them sit down, and that's it. They're pinned right here at our hip. That's what's going to happen. Well, they're still licking me. Then we're going to see if they'll do that while we ignore that. But you have to. You have to be patient enough to do it. If you don't have the time to do it, or you're not in the mood to do it, then go have a Diet Coke or whatever you do. Okay, don't do that. Separate yourself out of that. Often training or response that's correct is not what we call life linear, which you're actually in life. And I need to train my dog now. Well, half the time, that's not going to work.
Yeah, so that's always why we talk about setting up training modules. So if the licking is a problem, see, what you can do to get the dog to do that behavior. And so you're thinking ahead when you have time that you can start to manage what's happening, and you start to show the dog, don't do that.
The third thing, we have time. Let's look at the third, which is, again, similar, but there's an intensity to it that can really, there's all kinds of things that can frag off of this behavior that will affect fundamentally your pack. And that is feeding the dog from the table. That there are several questions that we get here. My dog has learned that it can spook food, what we call spooking food off of children. That does not have to be aggressive necessarily, but it's poking, licking, whatever. And of course, little kids especially.
Yeah, here's my sandwich.
Have my, whatever. I need a new sandwich because the dog took my sandwich. Well, pretty quickly, the dog learns that the puppy, which is what it looks, I'm sorry, that's what it looks at the child as. This young human ranks under me. And if it's got food, which is really tasty and way different than what I eat, I can get that food, right? At first, we may think that's funny, whatever. There was no screaming or crying, so we think it's all right. It's not all right. And pretty soon, where's your dog at dinner time? Oh, he's under the table. He's going from person to person, and the nose comes up into the lap, and we look at him.
Slide him food.
Whatever. Right? When people say, well, that's not really a big problem. However, it is counter canine. Dogs do not tolerate that kind of behavior amongst themselves when they're eating or when there's mealtime. That is one of the fundamental areas where we see very clearly, you look at our YouTube channel here with some of these things. Darcy has talked about this. There's training tip 2. We've talked about this. that eating at the carcass, so to speak, I mean, it's, forgive the terminology, but that is a controlled space.
And I think I told the story, maybe it was last week, I don't know, but the puppies in the tank, somewhere down South Kentucky, I don't remember where the heck I was, and they still have pet stores. These dogs were 8, 9 weeks old, and they put the food into the tank in a big bowl, and I could see dog number 1 and dog number 6, and they would mannerly wait their turn and go in and eat.
They're mannerly because it's been enforced. Your dominant dog will enforce that. Okay, having said that, right? Does that mean no human food ever? We would be screaming
Liars.
Brits
I'd be
and
lying.
Liars. Of course not. You do what you want. If you don't want to give your dog any human, then don't. That's great. Heaven knows there's millions of dollars of stinky, nasty dog treats out there that dogs just love, whatever. Some people say, well, I only use cheese, right? We don't care as long as it's safe for your dog. Okay, do some research. If you have questions about that, we can do a Q&A on that as well. But be wise, be careful about very rich foods, ham or things that have a lot of nitrates in it. Be really careful with that. But your dog should not be able to demand or root, beg. Now we say, okay, who's begging? No, dogs learn really quickly, a lot of them, to push a button. Cold noses work really good, seemingly, right? We put it on the human's hand. Oh, what? Nothing. The dog just has cold nose there, whatever. Oh, are you hungry? Can you smell our French fries? Whatever. And the dog learns what?
Cold nose means I get food.
Reward, right? And the food is awesome. So here's how I do it. All right. I have dachshunds. They are like meerkats, and they're fearsomely in love with French fries. So they know when I am in the kitchen eating, I think they go to their rug and they watch the fork moving, whatever in case. They know better than to approach me at the table. I have done that from the beginning. Do not approach me at the table. This is an obedience deal. It's one of the things that we teach. It's part of what stay is and everything else. Applied obedience in your life, so that the obedience has a purpose. That's the whole deal. It's not, oh, that's a cute trick and stuff, which is fine. Trick-treating's fine, but applied obedience is law. So the dog's over here. Now, in my deal, I will either go, if there's McDonald's French fries, whatever, we go over and they get a French fry there on their rug while I'm still eating. You would decide what the distance and stuff, but the dog cannot be doing like the licking, nibbling, pawing thing. Give me food. People said, Scott, you're not going to believe what happened. Oh, don't say that to us. We've got enough years that you're pretty tough to surprise us anymore. Well, I came in and my German wire hair pointer was standing in the middle of my dining room table, feasting. Feasting. I said, oh, after the meal? Oh, no. I brought food out and I wanted to go back into the kitchen, whatever, that was the mistake. Well, we did some research and the dog had become increasingly insistent. And pretty soon, why not jump up, right? And partake of the food. So if you can see what we're seeing here, the dog is licking, pawing, nibbling stuff because they want you. They want your eyes, your touch, your voice, your attention, okay? You must act immediately. Darcy mentioned modules. That's always best because you identify it and say, well, this is something I don't care for.
And I even had to set up a different training module. So I have these treats that my dogs and my cats go absolutely crazy for. But Gypsy is so food driven. Joe's pretty food driven too, but she's like a whole nother level. And she's a witch about it. She can be like very insistent. And then she's like, you know, wanting to discipline Joe, like back off, you know, that's my food. And I'm like, wait a minute here. It's not your food. It's not your food. It's my food. So I started a whole thing where if I am eating, see, I can eat it on my couch. I can eat at the table. It's the same thing. I anchor them, see, because I've worked for that on a stay. And then when I'm ready, I make them work for it. So I make them sit and lay down and sit and lay down until I decide I'm ready. And then I hand them the food.
Under the law.
And which is always sitting is minimal law and laying down is, you know, more subordinate. So I can give them the food, one of those two places, never forfeited. And it has cut down the intensity because I found a way that I like and that works and that the dogs understand. You can't just sit like 2 feet from me looking at me and then she's like giving him the side eye, like, you even move, I'm gonna like give you the what for. So, I mean, we deal with this stuff even in our own packs where we have to sort. And
Well, food. See, we're talking
Yeah,
food.
food.
But what about petting? What about proximity to mom? See, she has
Oh,
the
yeah.
same. She has the same thing. So, see, you are the center of what we're talking about.
Yep.
So, I've you know, little war story. What went in? Lady said, "Fix this animal, or it's gone." It's taking food from my children. It's nipping friends to get food, whatever. And it was a little beagle dog, and had just learned, you know, that I can get this food, and then it would run and hide under the bed if mom got mad, and then nipped mom when she tried to get out from it. So there was a whole thing that started the obedience training. When we ended, the dog was sitting. There were 7 children around the dog with food, passing food back and forth. And the dog just laid there. You know, that is what appropriate training is. Was there a lot of force or being? No. It's just showing the dog what they are already genetically predisposed to understand. We rank you. That's the deal. We're all pack, you know, but we rank you. So you will act in this manner because I am the pack leader. You don't have to teach a dog that. They're actually designed to recognize that. If you're seeing problems with that, it's because whatever the behavior is, you're not the administrator. The dog does not see, and you might be part administrator, but these little humans, no, that's not. So I'm going to wait till you're elsewhere because I know you don't like it. That is because we haven't been thorough in making sure that we rank all the humans above the dog. That is all part of what the training is about. That's the deal, is we are a why, and then a how, and then extended. Okay, so how do you live with this long term? Am I going to have to train my dog every single day? No, because that is the beauty of applied response, applied obedience. It's designed to literally live your law. Meal times, walks, you know, hikes, being in the car. That's where you're going to be working your obedience because it's part of what you expect the dog to do.
yeah, and so it's this whole thing of having, I mean, we have people who call, does the dog fit into your life? Or are you trying to have to figure out how you're going to fit into this dog's life? And so the applied obedience from the very beginning, you know, and these things that we talked about today, we show the dog, this is how you fit into us. This is how you have access to us. You know, this is how I love you and touch you. Everything that we teach and show you and tell you never changes that part. Loving and holding and all those wonderful things.
They're critical.
You know, I mean, for me, it's like my dogs are around me all the time. And I mean, I like it even when I'm eating, but I have my space, at least 2 feet. That's what I decided. That's my law. They don't get to decide that.
Right. Now, lest you misunderstand, or in your hearts, you're saying, yes, but any dog, okay, 8 weeks old, we do our puppy seminar, we get you started. So 16 weeks old, you begin formal obedience. And you say, oh man, my dog is 3, 4, 5. Any dog, any breed, any age. We mean that absolutely sincerely. We are very good at what we do. And that is to have people who say, well, I'd like to go, I went out and bless your hearts, adopted or fostered a dog, whatever. And of course, the dog doesn't know me, you don't know it, and it's very quiet until it starts to fit in. Then sometimes we find out why the dog has been in the shelter in the first place, with their behaviors or things that we're, oh my goodness gracious, guys, it's just training.
Yeah, we can sort those
We
things.
do that all the time. That's the thing, I promise. That's not don't ever say to yourself, I've screwed up, I've ruined this dog. So Darcy asked, does your dog fit into your, oh no. We all fit into his family. He is running the household. We get up at 5 a.m. in the morning because that's when he gets up. We let her out because she scratches the door every 5 minutes because that's what she demands. The answer is trite, but it's correct. They do those things because they can. And because you, as kindly good people, didn't have tools or understand how to react in a manner that is passive. I mean, a lot of what we do, but it's very firm. And the dog doesn't have a lot of choices one way or another.
And then counterintuitively, see, if you start layering structure and law, and the dog's understanding what you're doing, and you have somebody in your household who doesn't want to, see, then we see the dog kind of going, oh, well, that person, I outrank them, I am over them, and you'll see certain behaviors. So it's, it kind of cracks me up, and they don't understand. And we say it's counterintuitive that if you establish the law, the dog can relax, it trusts you.
Wants to be by it.
Yeah, and then that is where we say, live joyfully with your dog.
Yeah. Come in, how was your week? We see the look. We're very familiar with the look. Oh, hard week? Oh yes. The dog is young, it's aging or whatever, we're chasing it, whatever. We come in, we sit down. The dogs that are from hell, according to these people, come over and sit down next to us. And sometimes there's tears, sometimes people are angry or frustrated. I don't understand that. How can it be possible that you've been here one time and the dog comes over? I mean, we don't see that. Well, what are we doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. You just don't understand the principle that law, order, is critical to the canine, to all canines. They must have it. So once you establish order, everyone, the energy it's calm, it's sweet. We have had group lessons here on Saturdays, so we have 35 people working their dogs together in that whatever, and we're talking to them, the dogs are all laying down. And there's this wonderful, beautiful,
easy energy.
Because the dogs all trust what's going on. You have dogs there, perhaps, that are there for the first time. The people are just staring at their dog. I don't understand this. That's our job, is to help you understand, and we will. We promise. You will understand. Watch our Facebook, watch Instagram, free training. Okay, we want to get that out there. We've got a landing page, a resource page that we're very excited about. It's going to have training and breed spotlights and stuff involved with us. So please like and share on Facebook, Instagram, get that out there. We're here to help you. We will help you. And we
And-
look forward to
Yeah,
seeing you.
we appreciate your time. And again, here at Dog to Dog, we love you as much as your dog.
See you next Wednesday, lunchtime Q&A.
Have a good week.